Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with a controversial view of Degrassi. Controversial View is the series in which Jason from Horrific Nightmares and I watch and discuss controversial movies and TV shows. The controversies vary from film to film and episode to episode. Some are simple and straightforward, and some are more complex. Subject matter, behind-the-scenes incidents, and other things considered controversial are covered in this series. Today we have for you a TV CV, although there are Degrassi movies as well. This here is actually my second attempt at filming this video. I had already done this. It was finished, edited, uploaded, and scheduled. But the more I watched Degrassi, and I watch it often, I realized there was so much more I wanted to say about it. After all, in my opinion, Degrassi is one of the most controversial television controversial views we've done. As always, in preparation for these videos, Jason and I, of course, watched a selection of episodes together. But, as I already mentioned, I personally watch Degrassi all the time. My wife is a huge fan of this show, just like I am. Before I get into what's so controversial about it, and there is plenty, let me do a deep dive into Degrassi. Degrassi is a Canadian production, and it's basically its own universe. Altogether, as of the filming of this video, there are 25 total seasons amongst various Degrassi series. Within those, as I've stated, there are also some Degrassi movies. It all began in 1979 with The Kids of Degrassi Street. It was the premiere series of the Degrassi universe, featuring child actors and actresses who would go on to appear in the future Degrassi series. The Kids of Degrassi Street was one season, consisting of 26 episodes, but aired from 1979 through 1986. From there, the Degrassi universe really took on its identity, with Degrassi Junior High, premiering in 1987 and lasting for 3 seasons into 1989. This is the Degrassi series in which main characters and recurring characters were established. This Canadian series was the start of a lot of firsts, featuring actors and actresses playing characters who were actually their own age. Degrassi Junior High was considered the first soap opera for teens. Each episode covered real-life topics that real-life teens were enduring. Degrassi is timeless in that way. The characters find themselves in situations just about all of us have at some point. Maybe not to the same degree, but there are always characters every one of us can relate to. Following Degrassi Junior High came Degrassi High, of course, running for 2 seasons, between 1990 and 1991. Degrassi High, by the way, is my favorite series of the Degrassi universe. Following the same characters from Junior High, with some new ones as well, Degrassi High covered more serious stories. But of course, it did this while maintaining that realism people loved about the initial series. The following year, in 1992, we got our first Degrassi movie, School's Out, which is included on the Degrassi High box set as a bonus. While DEGRASSI High is my favorite series in the Degrassi universe, School's Out is my favorite piece of Degrassi overall. Not only is it one of the greatest made-for-TV movies, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest summer movies of all time, and the soundtrack is phenomenal. Just a month after School's Out first aired, a brand new Degrassi series premiered, titled DEGRASSI Talks. This 6-episode series is included on this DEGRASSI Junior High box set as a special feature. These episodes were shot documentary style. They remind me of after-school specials. The actors and actresses of Degrassi traveled the country interviewing real Canadian teens about real-life situations. Topics included sex, alcohol, abuse, depression, drugs, and sexuality. Back in 1992, all of this was controversial. Next came the biggest gap in years between Degrassi series. Degrassi The Next Generation would not premiere until 2001. This here is Season 3, which just happens to be one of my favorite seasons of the show. Characters from Degrassi Junior High, Degrassi High, and School's Out returned, but the main focus was on The Next Generation. Some of the kids being the children of the original characters. Degrassi The Next Generation technically ran for 14 seasons between 2001 and 2015. There were multiple movies along the way too, including Jay and Silent Bob Do Degrassi, Degrassi Goes Hollywood, and Degrassi Takes Manhattan. Now, the reason why I said technically The Next Generation ran for 14 seasons is because starting with season 10, the show was simply titled Degrassi and dropped The Next Generation. Fans of the series will definitely remember the promo for this season. Degrassi The Boiling Point was a huge deal at the time. Trust me, if you were a fan, this was can't-miss TV. When Degrassi The Next Generation concluded in 2015, it wasn't over yet. Netflix purchased rights to the show and released 4 seasons called Degrassi Next Class between 2016 and 2017. Next Class followed students from The Next Generation. As of right now, Season 4 of Degrassi Next Class is the final Degrassi season. HBO Max had planned a Degrassi revival for 2023. Unfortunately, it was postponed indefinitely after some management changes. There are many people still holding out hope, though, that it will someday return in Degrassi fashion. After all, it was 9 years between Degrassi Talks and The Next Generation, so it could definitely happen. And I'd actually be surprised if it didn't. I know this might sound crazy to those of you who aren't as familiar with Degrassi, but I truly feel that the fan base is just as big as, say, the Star Wars fan base, or the Game of Thrones fan base. Degrassi truly is its own world, its own universe. I'd say the closest thing to an American version of Degrassi is Beverly Hills 90210. And while that is one of my favorite shows of all time, it wasn't always as realistic as Degrassi. Far from it, in fact. Degrassi featured real teens playing teens, dealing with real situations. That's a big part of what makes it so controversial. While the situations were realistic and relatable, many people felt the young actors and actresses were involved in storylines that were too mature or too adult. In some cases, they also felt that a lot of the performers were overly sexualized for their ages. I can certainly understand that, but the unfortunate reality is it's realistic. Here's an incomplete list of some of the taboo topics covered in Degrassi. Keep in mind that what makes it even more controversial is that they all involve teens. Teen pregnancy, teen motherhood, teen abortion, teen adoption, domestic abuse, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, mental health issues, self-harm, suicide, murder, assault, and the R word that rhymes with grape. I don't want to get flagged for saying it. Gang violence, online predators, grooming, racism, homophobia, transphobia, self-identification, religion, lots and lots and lots of sexuality. Degrassi was the first series to feature a trans teen character. There's a school shooting featuring Drake the rapper. Yes, Degrassi is where the world was first introduced to Aubrey Graham. Sex toys, threesomes, student-teacher relationships. If the student-teacher thing isn't taboo enough, there are also inappropriate relationships between parents and children. Degrassi Nudes was an intensely controversial storyline at the time. Speaking of which, while seldom, there is actual nudity throughout the Degrassi universe. HIV, AIDS, and other STDs are covered. You gave me a social disease is probably one of the most famous lines in Degrassi history. And speaking of famous lines, the most famous of all in Degrassi came in Schools Out. Despite being a made-for-TV movie, the censors allowed swearing, feeling it would be more realistic for character responses. This resulted in Schools Out including the first F-bomb on Canadian television. It's actually used a second time, however, and ironically, the second use of it is the most popular of all. Because of that, the name Tessa Campanelli will forever be iconic for Degrassi fans. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, I'm Team Tessa, by the way. Just name a controversy, and it can almost certainly be found somewhere in the Degrassi universe. There were even multiple episodes that were banned in the US for a while. Others were edited for an American audience. I feel like there is so much I'm not mentioning, but I can't say it all. There's a phrase routinely used in the Degrassi universe. Degrassi goes there. It honestly doesn't feel real at times in the way that you find yourself wondering, how did they get away with this? And for those of you who watch my channel only for the horror, I can assure you there are numerous horror-themed episodes of Degrassi. This includes one in which the characters film their own slasher movie in Degrassi High. There's a suspenseful two-parter in Season 11 of The Next Generation, and a four-part episode that concludes The Next Generation in Season 14. Another specific controversy I think worth touching on involves Kevin Smith. Apparently, Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High were his favorite television shows growing up. Fortunately for him, he became famous and successful enough to appear in multiple episodes of Degrassi The Next Generation. Not only did he get to live a childhood dream of being on the show, but he got to live out another childhood dream. His TV crush back in the day was Caitlin Ryan on Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High. Well, Kevin's childhood fantasies became reality when he got to kiss Caitlin in Degrassi The Next Generation. Now, because of this, many Degrassi fans actually dislike Kevin Smith. His actions on the show led to some changes that no one really wanted, and they feel it was all just to satisfy his young lust. In addition, he was allegedly a bit creepy on set. Apparently, his childhood crush lasted through adulthood. This made certain people uncomfortable. Kevin Smith's appearances marked a turning point in Degrassi history. The name Kevin Smith alone is controversial in the Degrassi community. So I've mentioned a few Degrassi firsts, and I've gone through an incomplete list of taboo topics covered. And there is still so much more I could say. Like I said at the start of this video, this is my second attempt at filming it, and I still don't feel satisfied. There's just no way to truly capture how controversial Degrassi is. It's more than just a series of endless controversies. The whole show is just controversial itself. I stand by what I said earlier. I do believe it's one of the most controversial TV CVs we've done. And so I guess I'll end it here. I could talk about Degrassi for hours. I will say this though, if you're watching this video and think, nah, Degrassi isn't for me, I'd say give it a chance. You might be surprised. There is something incredibly addictive about it, and Jason said the same thing when we were watching the episodes in preparation for these videos. Once you start watching, you don't want to stop. But if you're still unwilling to give it a shot, well, that's fine. Jason and I watched it, so you don't have to. This is just my controversial view. Please be sure to check out Jason's as well. Are you a fan of Degrassi? If so, let's discuss it. Which Degrassi series is your favorite? Who are some of your favorite characters? What's your favorite episode? Comment below and let me know. Which controversial movie or TV show will we view next? Check back soon to find out. Until then, remember, physical media matters. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and, be kind, subscribe.